Every single time you post a photo or send a quick message or even just scroll through a website, you're playing by a set of invisible rules. These rules shape your freedom, your privacy, and your power online. But do you actually know what they are? Let's get into it.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. When you log on, what kind of protections and powers actually travel with you through that screen? That's the big question, and that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So, we've got a game plan. First, we'll look at your two-sided life online. Then, we'll dig into your rights, both as a user and as a creator. After that, we'll uncover some of the hidden threats to those rights, and we'll wrap up with how you can build your own digital shield.
Here's the first thing you have to realize. On the internet, every single one of us is playing two roles, a lot of times at the exact same moment. You're a user, consuming content, and you're a creator, putting your own stuff out there, whether that's just a tweet, a photo, or even a line of code. Each one of those roles comes with its own playbook of rights.
All right, let's tackle role number one, you, the user. Every time you're browsing, clicking, sharing, you're covered by something called digital rights. And at its heart, the idea is actually pretty simple.
And there it is, right there. It's the simple but powerful idea that the fundamental human rights you have in the real world, like privacy and freedom of speech, they don't just vanish when you go online. They absolutely extend into these digital spaces where we all spend so much of our time.
And these rights form the foundation for a free and open internet. Think of them as your right to privacy, which is all about controlling your own data, your right to free expression, so you can share your thoughts without being censored, and the crucial right to access, which means getting to information without some government or ISP blocking your way.
And this stuff has a real-world impact. Take the right to be forgotten. This isn't just some abstract legal concept. Nope, it's a practical tool that means you can actually ask to have old, irrelevant, or maybe just plain embarrassing personal info removed from search engines. It gives you back some control over your own story. Okay, so let's flip the script and talk about your other online identity, the creator. Anytime you write a blog post, snap a picture, record a melody, you're making something new. And the law gives you this incredibly powerful tool to protect it. It's called copyright.
The key phrase here, the one you really need to remember, is exclusive control. As soon as you create something original and put it into a tangible form, like you type it, you record it, and you save it, copyright law automatically kicks in and says you, the creator, have the sole power to decide how it gets used and shared.
I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. Don't think of copyright as just one big rule. Instead, picture it like a bundle of sticks. Each stick is a specific power you have over your work, and you get to decide if you want to hold on to all of them or maybe give a few away.
So, what's in that bundle? Well, first, you've got the right to reproduce your work, to make copies. Second, the right to distribute those copies. A huge one is the right to create derivative works. That's like a movie being made from your book. And finally, you control the rights to publicly perform or display it. That's the power copyright hands to you.
But, and this is super important, you have to know what copyright doesn't protect. It protects the specific way you express an idea, the actual book you wrote, the song you recorded. It does not protect the general idea itself. Facts, concepts, even short slogans, those are all free for everyone to use and build on, which is totally essential for progress and culture. Okay, so we've got digital rights as a user and copyright as a creator. Sounds great, but why is it so incredibly important to understand this stuff? Well, because both of these sets of rights are constantly under threat, usually from forces we can't even see. The first big one is mass surveillance. We've got governments and big corporations tracking our clicks, our locations, our private messages. This creates what's known as a chilling effect. It makes you think twice before you search for something sensitive, right? And that directly undermines both our privacy and our freedom to express ourselves. And then there's the constant, looming risk of data breaches. Our personal info has become this incredibly valuable thing. It's not just that hackers want to steal it, it's also being used by platforms to build these complex profiles on us, influencing everything from the ads we see to the job offers we might get, and often we never even knew we consented to it. And sometimes, the threat is just brutally direct. Internet shutdowns. During times of political unrest, some governments will literally just flip a switch. They cut off their citizens from the rest of the world, silencing dissent, and just completely violating that fundamental right to access information.
Now, I know that all that sounds pretty bleak, but it is not hopeless. We're not defenseless out here. There are actually several layers of protection that act like a digital shield for your rights. And honestly, the most important layer might be you.
So, this protection comes from three main places. First, you've got the law itself. Then there are dedicated organizations fighting for us. And finally, and maybe most importantly, there's the power that each of us has to protect ourselves.
On the legal side, you've probably heard of things like Europe's GDPR or California's CCPA. These are landmark laws that give people real control over their data. And backing them up are nonprofits like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, who are basically in the trenches fighting these battles in court every single day.
But that final layer of the shield, that's you. And it's not complicated. Simple habits create a powerful defense. Using strong and unique passwords, hiding your browsing with a VPN, choosing encrypted messaging apps like Signal, these are the bricks you use to build your own personal fortress online. As we wrap this up, it's worth remembering the whole point of this. Copyright isn't just about locking things down. It really has two jobs: to give creators a reason to make cool new stuff, and by doing that, it enriches our shared public culture for everyone. It's a cycle, you see. Protection and promotion, working together.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We've talked about protecting the things we consume and protecting the things we create. But in a world that is literally built on our personal data, maybe the most important creative act of all is carefully building and fiercely protecting our own digital selves. What do you think?